Hi everyone, welcome to another Table Talk. So today I just wanted to give you my initial impressions of the Brother Hobby Speed Shield 2207.5 3400 kV quad racing motor. I've been running this pretty hard now for a couple of weeks. I have about 30 flights on it, all on 3S, and just been having a heck of a good time with it. It definitely is a super beastie, fast little motor. On 3S, it is faster than the Gep RC 2306-2750 that I've been running for quite a while now. But I picked it up for a couple reasons. First off, I was hoping that it would be the motor on 4S that would help push me over 100 miles an hour, because I've been working on a sort of 100 mile an hour prop and slot park jet now for over a year. And I think that it probably would, but I think that I be more than likely would smoke the motor. I did test it on 4S on the bench just quickly with the 6x3 EMP prop. It did produce over 100 grams more thrust than the Gep RC, but it also pulled 75.5 amps. And from what I've seen thus far, just testing it on 3S with a variety of props, it comes down pretty warm, warmer even than the Gep RC does. And I think that if I tried to run it on 4S, that I would just cook the motor. And it's a $35 motor, regular price, US dollars. I picked both the ones that I've ordered, I picked up on sale, but I just don't think that it's worth the risk. So anyway, that presents me with a bit more of a challenge. The predecessor to this plane, I had built essentially the same with all the servos and all of that sort of stuff. So the challenge for me is going to be to build, we'll be building another SU-30, but the challenge will be to build a lighter, lighter and even more streamlined plane. I've talked about it, I think, in other videos. I'll link the playlist for my 100 mile an hour project down below. So yeah, that'll be a bit more of a challenge. I found this motor through Engineer X's YouTube channel, so I'll have a link to the video that he shows. I mean, it produced, on his equipment, produced some just absolutely insane thrust numbers, but also some pretty insane amp draws. And from what I've seen, as I mentioned already, in the air, I just don't think I'm going to be able to push this motor really much harder than I have already without cooking it. The second reason that I bought it was to put on a tail mount park jet. I'm going to be building an F-22 Raptor, FRC Foamy's F-22 Raptor later in this year. You know, I've been already flown my FRC Foamy's F-18. I think I have about 180 flights on it, and I've been using the Gep RC motor in that plane. So I think that this will give me just that little bit of extra punch and extra speed on 3S. So that'll be exciting. Okay, so let's talk about the motor itself. It comes with pretty long wires. I just left those on. I think that these are about 6 inches long. I just left those on because I find that you know, rather than using heavier gauge wire for an extension in between my ESC and the motor, if I had to, like for example, perhaps with a tail mount, I just leave those on there. So it's a naked bottom. You know, there's no you know, plate on the bottom. Has a 16 by 16 bolt pattern, which you know, you can still use these aluminum X mounts here that a lot of us use. Because it does have, this is a 16 by 19. You know, touch wood, I've been running the Gep RC and other motors that are 16 by 16 bolt pattern using just 2 screws in that X mount, and you know, even pushing it super hard on 4S, and I haven't had an issue with anything coming loose there. It does have, in comparison to the Gep RC, it does have the wall of the bell here is about 50% as thick as the bell on the Gep RC. The magnets are a little bit thinner in, you know, where they go between the bell and the stator. So that probably helps it be lighter. It's actually, with all the hardware, the X mount, prop, all that sort of stuff, it's about 2 grams lighter than the Gep RC. It also, I know it's going to be hard for you to see, the way that it's wound, the wires that it's wound with are very thin, quite thin, where the Gep RC is wound with pretty thick wires. So in my research and understanding, that helps promote high kV. The thinner wire, the thicker wire helps with heat dissipation. Yeah, it runs really smooth, you know, very smooth bearings. I haven't had, you know, I'm very surprised even with the very high kV on Engineer X's gear. It actually, he showed that it is actually a 3400 kV motor. It's the highest kV motor I've ever run. I'm surprised that it doesn't seem to bog down with the higher pitched props, 5-inch props that I've been using. So that's very, very promising. I'm pleased with that. So I've run it on 4 props thus far. The RC Timer or KMP TGS 6x3 sport prop, that's probably the fastest prop. But for a tail mount park jet, I've been preferring these 5-inch 3-blade props. So this is the Dalprop Cyclone 50/50. Very good prop, good performance. For top end speed, thus far, these are the 2 leaders: the Gemfan Hurricane 51,499 and the Gemfan Flash 5149. This prop, the Hurricane, has better mid-range speed between sort of 50 to 75% throttle. So thus far, this would be my favorite. But I have quite a wide selection of other 5-inch props in pitches that are very close to these props, different blade shapes, different brands. So I'll be experimenting some more with that to sort of find the ideal combination for me for this motor to put on my FRC Foamies F22 Raptor. I've been running it with the Hobbywing Platinum Pro 40 amp speed controller with custom settings of 26.25 degrees timing and 8 kilohertz on the pulse width modulation frequency. It's performed very, very well. Excuse me. So the batteries I run are 2200 3-cell 45C. So if you were going to experiment with this motor, I would caution you, you might be able to get away with like a Turnigy Plush 40 amp speed controller, which has a 55 amp burst. But I'd be very cautious of using a no-name super cheap 40 amp speed controller you got off eBay or something like that, because I think that you probably would end up cooking your speed controller. Also, use batteries. I would use a 2200 3S battery, or a battery that's going to give you 85, 90 amps minimum. Just because if you went with a 2200 25C or 30C even, most batteries, the C rating is a bit it's a bit overrated, I think. So be very, very careful, or you probably will end up cooking something there. I have found that compared to planes with the GEP RC motor, that I have reduced my timer on my transmitter by about a minute. The batteries that I have can handle the amp draw, but it's pulling, even at mid throttle, it's pulling about 50% more amps than the GEP RC motor. So what's happening is it just drains the tank a lot faster. Sucks down those milliamps a lot faster. So again, I would be, if you do go to try it, I would keep that in mind. Reduce your timer down, and then check your battery when you land and see sort of how many volts you have. Otherwise, you're going to be, I think you'll be pushing your battery too low too often, which could end up again causing you issues with your battery. So. Pardon me. So yeah, so there's my initial impressions. Just having a great time with it. I think it's an awesome motor on 3S. Really a lot of fun. You can get out there and really put the coals to it. And it's I mean obviously I've been flying it really, really hard because it's like buying a Ferrari. You don't drive it around in your neighborhood in second gear. You want to take advantage of that speed. And I have a pretty heavy left thumb as it is. So. Very pleased with it. It's every Brother Hobby motor I've experimented with has been a good motor, so I'm very happy with how this is running. And there's my initial impression. So like I said, please check out the comments down below, the video description for more information, links to my motor test spreadsheet, and stay tuned to my channel. I'll be field testing this motor with some more 5-inch 3-blade props as they arrive in the mail. So there we go. There's the Brother Hobby Speed Shield 2207.5 3400. My initial impressions. Very pleased with it. Thanks for watching. Blue skies, calm winds to everyone. Park jet noise. You have the sound of freedom, baby. Take care.